I'm going to start with where I agree. You should not be dancing on anyone's grave. No one should be celebrating anyone's death. No one should be murdered. No one should be rooting for anyone to be murdered. No one deserves to be murdered. But as far as the sentiments like my empathy is out of network, you might say it's too soon, but it also needs to be said.
In this particular case?
Sure, why not? United HealthCare is the 8th most profitable company in the world. The entire world. Their business is about making money off of our healthcare, right? And being the number one denier of claims in the United States, making money off of denying critical medical services that a lot of us need. I'll just share a personal story. When I was a kid, my younger brother had a congenital illness that he was born with. He needed a bone marrow transplant in order to survive past the age of maybe 7 or 8. Our insurance company denied him that bone marrow transplant, which would have been about $250,000 at the time, much more today. My family could not afford that. The insurance company said, we don't want to pay for this because we think the treatment's experimental, and B, we're not going to pay for it because it's only going to extend his life by maybe 15, 20 years. It's not going to fix the problem. When you have an insurance company tell you that your family member's life is not worth their money, that is a huge slap in the face. And we pay insurance companies for a service, right? In what other industry can you pay someone for a service and then they deny you that service and that is not considered a crime? I don't understand that, right? So if you pay me to build a deck for you and I take your money and I don't build your deck and I say, sorry, take me to court over it. Well, you know what? You don't have any more money left. You gave me all your money to build the deck. Well, okay, I guess I'm just going to walk away. Because that's what happens with insurance companies. And they're doing that with people's lives, tens of thousands of lives.
I mean, I don't disagree. Sorry, and I think you and I, Gee, are probably going to be on the same page on this. I don't disagree that the insurance industry needs to be overhauled, and those conversations need to happen. I don't think they need to happen in conjunction with someone who was assassinated.
Why is it an assassination?
Because it was targeted. Okay, killed, murdered.
Okay.
I mean, I hope that you're not taking it. I mean, it was in cold blood, in short distance.
Sure.
Someone laying in wait for this particular person to come out.
And that happens in Seattle every week.
It happens, and it is horrific.
Yes.
But again, you're not celebrating someone's death when that happens to someone in Seattle.
I'm not celebrating this man's death.
And I don't think that it is
I want to make that really clear.
At any
because
point.
I think the difference that we have is I find that the executives who are in charge of these companies are responsible for their decisions and the decisions that they make.
Again, I don't disagree with you on that. But why not separate it? Why not have that conversation outside of what has happened to this person in this case?
I'll tell you what I have come to learn and understand. Is it fair to say that we as a society lack empathy more today than ever? That's number one. Everything that some of you all are texting, Chef, what you said, thank you for sharing that story. When has insurance in our country been something that we have all celebrated? Some of us all have some type of story where insurance was maybe not favorable towards us. I'm empathetic towards those that have had insurance claims denied.
Guess what?
All of that. I'm going to put that in this separate compartment and compartmentalize this by saying nothing that should have happened to where that man loses his life. And what's scary is...
Or make jokes about it.
By the way, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just going to say what already is. It makes me sad that when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked, right? People were excited about that. Why? Because of the side of politics that they represent. We have become a society that lacks empathy, and based upon who it is and who they represent, we say things like, good, I'm glad. Shama Sawant, her comments about Paul Allen. I mean, people, we got to chill with that. We have to get to the point where a loss of life is like, hey, I'm sorry to the family.
And I hear you. Exactly. Exactly. And I hear you when you say, look, do they care when my loved one lost their life because they had insurance? I mean, it gets even more complex than that, because if you think about it, I was asking someone, hey, do you have stocks? Do you have a 401k? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, every day that you're looking at how your portfolio is doing, that is the pressure that is put on CEOs to find ways to cut. I mean, so it all feeds into a lot of these things. And again, you know, to justify, well, you know, that person had it coming to them. I don't ever want to become that way at large as a society.
And by the way,
we need to address the issues that are being brought up.
No doubt.
For sure.
And by the way, I want to clear, Chef never said he was celebrating, right?
No.
What we have been, the conversation centered around celebration of his loss of life came from Ursula bringing up all of the social media. If you go on social media right now, you see people celebrating and dancing on that, to which I say, careful what you all wish for. Careful when the shoe is on the other foot, because maybe you or your family, oh, you have that one person in your family that was about this. So if this happens to you, I don't care if that happens to you.
To this day, my mom died a year ago.
Yeah.
I'm still paying off debts from her medical bills because she was not insured. So I understand. Or she was not properly insured.
True.
I think part of the frustration that you're seeing represented in comments online is also due to the fact that there is no corporate responsibility that citizens can hold companies to, even when they're directly harmed by them. Let's say, for example, an insurance company improperly denies a claim. United HealthCare was denying 32% of all claims, right? And that impacts your family. Let's say, you know, you have long-standing health issues that resulted from a lack of coverage. You didn't get diabetes, so you didn't get your diabetes medication, you went blind, right? If you have a lawyer, you can take your insurance company to court, and if a judge finds that they improperly denied you care, they might be held to a small financial fine. Right. But again, going back to my last anecdote, if you pay me for a good or service and I don't provide that to you, that's theft and it's a crime. And we're talking about people's lives here when it's denial of coverage, and people feel like they have no recourse. And this is where all the anger is coming from, I believe.
I understand that.
Yeah. We go back to the pandemic. And of course, you guys know we were here every step of the way. During that time, it was a rough time that happened here in our country. Ursula, what would happen when there were people that were COVID deniers, right? Denying that COVID was real. And then sometimes there were situations where they themselves passed away. When did we ever get on there and we would still have empathy for that person? And so I think what's scaring me, and as we look on social media, is the continuation of, well, with these insurance companies and all that and what they represented. Like, this one person did not represent all of that by himself. He was the boss.
He oversaw, was responsible for, and profited directly from a company that is notorious for denying people health care.
They were the worst. They're the worst in the country.